Well, many July 4th air travelers faced another nightmare holiday weekend. Since Friday, U.S. airports have had more than 2,200 flight cancellations and thousands of delays. So let's bring in CBS News senior travel advisor Peter Greenberg to talk all about this. Peter never has that problem. He knows all the tips and tricks.
And he knows all the the maitre d's and all the.
And if he has that problem, he's staying in some epic lounge, the best one available.
That's exactly right.
So the question is, and we talked about this yesterday, how did we get here with all these sort of long delays and cancellations? Because like I said yesterday, we talked about this like revenge travel that a year ago people said, I don't care about this pandemic. I don't care about travel insurance. I don't care how much you're going to charge me. I need to get out. So we've been talking about record numbers of travelers for about a year.
Yeah.
So why are we finding ourselves in this position now with all these cancellations?
Well, first of all, it's sort of an inverse relationship between the increase in demand and the unavailability of staff. And they never caught up. They never thought it was going to come back this fast and this big, but it did. And it actually, as you said, started in 21 in May and June. So there were no great surprises there. We saw it again during the Memorial Day weekend. We saw it during Father's Day weekend, and we saw it again this weekend. And with the pipeline of talent being very small and staffing shortages continuing, this problem's going to be with us at least through the middle of September.
So what is the situation overseas at some European airports, Peter?
Well, it's a mess. In Gatwick, they're actually asking the airlines to cut 1,000 flights a day. Amsterdam is a good example. At one point, the government tried to limit physically the number of people allowed to be in the airport at any one time. That didn't work. So what have they done now? They put on a cap. No new airline tickets can be sold between now and the end of this month, either to or from Amsterdam. That'll give you an idea of how severe it is.
Yeah, I know in Toronto, the airport was a mess there, too. People were livid because they had been waiting in lines for so long. Here in the U.S., what can the federal government do to maybe prevent these massive delays or cancellations? I don't know if they can do much.
Well, the key is going back to 1978 and the Federal Deregulation Act that essentially did not allow any state government to regulate airlines, and the federal government was then limited as well. The real answer here may lie with Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg, because he does have rulemaking capability to be able to hold airlines accountable and in many cases institute financial consequences if they publish and try to fly schedules that they can't support. The secondary area of the rulemaking is passenger rights. Every state that's tried to pass a passenger bill of rights, that's gone to court, and the airlines have thrown it out. They were able to get the courts to recognize the Deregulation Act. So the rulemaking again goes back to the DOT to provide a new scale of compensation for passengers who've either been delayed or canceled.
And what about this, Peter? I had read that, part of what the airlines did during the pandemic is they tried to get rid of as many staff as they could, early retirement. So a lot of seasoned pilots left the business. And there are rules in regards to who can now be a pilot. I understand it takes a while to be a pilot. We have safety concerns, but the same rules for domestic pilots do not apply to international pilots who fly into the U.S. Is that something the federal government has control over, maybe altering the rules as to who can be a pilot here and who can't?
Well, this is sort of the third rail of regulation because nobody really wants to change the number of required hours before you can sit in the left seat or the right seat. Right now, it's about 1,500 hours. And there is a move afoot. Some airlines are asking them to reduce the number of hours so they can hire more people. But no regulator that I know of is wanting to do that on their watch. So for the moment, they're not touching those regulations.
Yeah, you don't want to be the guy who makes it easier for pilots to get the job, and then there's a disaster, and then why did this happen?
Peter Greenberg, always good to have you, my friend. Travel well, as we know you do.
Stop that.
I love you.